I've spent millions of dollars over the last couple of years on Facebook ads alone. And if you're completely new to Facebook advertising, you stumbled across the right video. By the end of this video, your account is going to be fully set up and you're going to have an advertisement ready to launch. Make sure you're following along while you're watching this video and setting it up step by step. That way your account is set up properly. And trust me when I say this, it's 2025 and Facebook ad campaigns are easier to set up than ever. All right, with that being said, let's get right into it. The very first thing that we have to do, and it's kind of boring, but it is super important to set this up properly. What you need to set up is your Facebook Business Manager account. So if you don't have one of these already, then just follow these super easy steps. You're gonna go on facebook.com/business. You're gonna log in with your personal account. Now, a lot of people ask me, if I'm using my personal Facebook that's linked to my Instagram, do people see this that follow me? And the answer to that is no. Your personal Facebook and your personal Instagram account, even if they're linked to your business account, people cannot see what you're doing on the business side of things. You don't have to worry about any of your followers seeing what you're doing on the business side of Facebook. So once you're on the Business for Facebook page, all you're gonna do is sign up, log in with your Facebook account, and then you're gonna be good to go. Now, once you log into that, you're gonna get on the Business Manager side of Facebook. So this is where you're gonna link all of your pages, your Instagram accounts for your business, as well as setting up your ad account here before we can actually move into the fun stuff, which is just setting up the campaigns. So on the left side here, you're gonna see your pages, your people, your partners, your ad accounts, basically everything that is able to be managed on Facebook Business. And the structure that they have on Facebook is technically your personal account and then your business manager accounts. And then underneath those are your ad accounts, your pages that are linked to that specific ad account, as well as your Instagram account. So that's kind of how the structure is laid out. You really only need one business manager account right now if you are just starting off. But what's really important is when you get into this page and your business manager is set up, is that you need to have your Facebook page and your Instagram account linked to that ad manager account. So under the account section here, if you look at pages and you don't have one up yet, which I'm assuming you don't if you're brand new to Facebook advertising, all you have to do here to set it up for your business is go onto the right side and click on add. And then here you can add an existing Facebook page, request a shared access to a Facebook page if you're managing the account for someone else. Or if you're completely brand new, you'll just create a new Facebook page. When you create a new one for your business, all you have to do is enter your page name, the category, the bio, confirm the page, and you are done. You can set up everything later. You can add all the images, the details. That is all up to you. You treat that Facebook business page like an Instagram business account. Once you have that Facebook page set up, the next thing that you want to do is set up your Instagram accounts. So if you go under the section here that says Instagram accounts, if you don't have one for your business, you have to add one. You technically can run Facebook ads just off of a Facebook page, but if you're selling products online, whether they're digital or physical products, you're going to want an Instagram account as well. It's better to have an Instagram presence. And while you're running your advertisements, your Instagram account is naturally going to grow just from people seeing your paid traffic. Now we need to do the exact same thing that we did with the Facebook page. We're going to click on add at the top right. If you already have an existing Instagram account, you can link it here. If you want to create a new one, you're going to go through that exact same process. Just set it up with the same business name that you used for Facebook. Agree to the terms, set up that account, and of course, later on down the road, you can start posting on there as well. Add the link in bio, all of that stuff. But for right now, to set up our ad account in general, we just need to have these pages linked onto our ad account. Once you've got that set up, you're going to want to move over to ad accounts. So under your account section, go into ad accounts under your Facebook Business Manager. You're most likely not going to have any accounts here. So what we're going to do again is add. You're going to create a new ad account, and then you would add the ad account name. So you can have the account name as Test Shopify if you're using Shopify. Hit next. This ad account is going to be used for my business. Unless you're doing this as an agency, then it would be another business or client. Go ahead and hit next. It's going to say, hey, this is your Shopify Business Manager, the BM account. And underneath that account, which I was talking about earlier, will be your ad account. So this one you can see here is under it, and it's called Test Shopify. I'm going to agree and click create the account. Now here it's going to ask you if you want to add payment info onto your account. So they charge credit cards or PayPal to run your advertisements. Now, you don't have to do this right now. You can if you want to. I would recommend just getting it out of the way by adding a credit card or your PayPal. Once you finish that up, you're just gonna go ahead and hit done. And now you've got your test Shopify account that we just assigned here. So our connected assets, we don't have any connected assets yet. Now what we need to do is connect that Instagram account that we created and your Facebook account to this ad account to be able to manage it inside the ads manager. We're actually going to be connecting the Facebook page and the Instagram account during the setup process in the ad manager under our campaign. So we're actually going to be coming back to that. And the next thing that you want to do is have a pixel assigned to your account as well. For those of you that don't know, a pixel is a line of code essentially that is collecting data from your website and sending it back onto Facebook Ad Manager. This is how they record purchases, clicks, add to carts, basically all the information that you need to know when you're running your ad campaigns. You can either set up your pixel on the back end of your business manager right here, or you can set it up during the campaign process as well. So to do this on the back end, we're going to go down to data sets, then we're going to click on add, and then we're going to create a new data set. So it's going to be test Shopify if we're using our Shopify store. We don't need to request a demo of the conversion API gateway. We're just going to go ahead and hit create. Now you're going to see your new pixel here. It's going to say test Shopify. So what we need to do now is connect our assets. So we're going to click on connect assets again at the top middle right here. Click on other business assets. Then we're going to assign it to the ad account that we just created. So this is the test Shopify one, hit add. And now our pixel is linked to that ad account. But if you are running a store on Shopify, you do need to log into your Shopify account and add the Facebook sales app. When you install that app on Shopify, you're gonna log in with the exact same Facebook login information that you did here. And then you're gonna choose that business manager that you just created, your ad account that you just created in the pages. And that pixel will actually populate on Shopify as well. You'll check that box and it'll be installed onto your Shopify store if that's what you're using. If you're using a different third-party platform besides Shopify, you essentially would do it the exact same way. And if they don't have an app on their platform for whatever reason, you can manually add the line of code for that pixel onto the header of your website in the HTML file. And I know that's a lot and most people are using Shopify. I wouldn't worry about that too much, but if you are using a third party, I'd probably switch over to Shopify. And if you don't want to do that, then you can manually do it that way. So now we've got our pixel set up, our ad accounts, our pages and Instagram account. Now we're pretty much good to go to start running ads and creating our first campaign. So from the business manager, we're going to click on ads manager. And now the ads manager is going to bring you here. So this is where you're going to manage all of your advertisements, check on all of the metrics, set your budget, your strategies. Everything is pretty much housed in here. This is where you're going to live if you're running paid ads. I'll cover the metrics and what each one kind of means and what you should be looking for when you're running your campaigns to see if they're performing well or not later on in this video. So make sure to stay around for that because it is super important to be able to read your analytics and your metrics correctly. So Facebook ad campaigns are set up in a 3-tier type of system. So there's the campaign level, there's the ad set level, and then there's the ad creative level. The campaign level is just the overarching objective of the campaigns. There's not too many settings there. It's basically, do you want to run a sales campaign to try to get people to purchase from your website? Or do you want to run an engagement campaign where you're just going to get a bunch of views on a video? The ad set level is where you do all of your targeting. So the age demographics, the location, the placements of the ad, essentially who you want to market to. And then the ad creative level is where you upload your image or video that you're going to be running. You're also going to edit the captions of the video or the advertisement and the link to where they should go after they click. So like I said earlier, it's 2025 and Facebook ads have really mastered making this as easy as possible. There's no crazy strategies anymore. Everything is super simplified and pretty much done for you, and it's kind of just plug and play. So let's set up our first campaign now. So what we're going to do is click on create at the top left. It's going to bring us to the campaign objective. Now the buying type, we're always going to leave at auction. You want to have Facebook auction off their ad space. This is how you get the lowest cost per purchase and the lowest bids on advertising. Now to choose our campaign objective, there's awareness, traffic, engagement, leads, app promotion, and sales. Awareness will just show your ad to as many people as possible, but it's not optimizing for sales. And if you choose awareness, do not expect to get any sales on your website. It's just going to be probably a bunch of click farms, to be honest with you. Or even if they are real people, they're people that are most likely not going to convert on your website, and you're kind of just wasting your ad spend. That same goes with traffic. Do you want people to click onto your website and not do anything? Then go for traffic. Engagement campaigns can be useful if you're running leads or top of funnel messages, if you're selling a digital product or something like that. Engagement and leads are pretty similar, to be honest with you. App promotions essentially just getting people to install your app. So people that are most likely to install apps from an ad they see. But where 99% of us are going to sit and live is going to be in our sales campaigns. If you're running an e-com store or you're selling anything at all, you're going to want to run a sales campaign. What it's doing is telling Facebook to run the advertisements to people that are more likely to purchase, people that have history from clicking on ads and purchasing on Facebook. I recommend always doing this unless you have some reason to do another campaign objective, which I don't think if you're watching this video, you probably need any of these. So we're gonna click on sales and we're gonna click on continue. Now there's two options for our campaign setup. We could do Advantage Plus shopping campaign or a manual sales campaign. Advantage Plus shopping campaign has very limited options to choose from. All of the options are pretty much chosen for you. It's really quick to do, but I personally like to go to the manual sales campaign because I like a little bit more control and optionality when I'm running my campaigns. So with that being said, I recommend doing a manual sales campaign in the beginning. And now it's going to take us into our campaign editor. So we've got our campaign level right here is the first step that we need to fill out. And remember what I was talking about earlier. There are 3 different levels to the campaigns here. We've got the campaign level, we've got the ad set level, and we've got the ad creative level. Now keep in mind, you can run multiple ad sets under one campaign. So for example, if you wanted to duplicate this, you could add it, you could duplicate it right here, and then there'd be 2 ad sets with 2 ad creative levels underneath each one. You could use this to A/B test. Maybe one of them you want to test people that are 18 to 25 and one that is 25 to 35. You can create as many ad sets as you want, but what I recommend doing if this is your first time running Facebook ads is to stick with one campaign, one ad set level, and then multiple creatives underneath that to see which one performs the best. So with that being said, let's name our campaign. So it's going to be our test Shopify campaign. You can name this whatever you want. I recommend naming them something that has to do with your targeting in your ads within this campaign. So for example, for this campaign, if I'm doing 18 plus and US based people only, I could label it right there. That way you don't have to dig deep and see what you were targeting at the time to see if it was performing well or not. It just makes it a little bit easier when you start running a bunch of different campaigns. Now the next section is special ads category. This is for if you want to declare a category like employment, housing, social issues, politics, financial products. Most of the time, if we're selling a physical product, you don't need to declare anything. So 100% of the time for me, I skip over this, but if you fall into that category, then this is where you want to identify that. Now moving below that is the campaign details. We don't need to change anything here because we already selected these options. We've got the auction and the sales campaign. Below that is the Advantage Plus catalog ads. So if you have your Shopify store linked and you have catalogs on your Shopify store, you can run specific Advantage Plus catalog ads only. So it'll pull products from that Shopify catalog and place them into the creatives for you. If this is your first time, I don't recommend testing this out. We don't want to run a catalog ad. You're most likely just running an advertisement to a specific product. So we're going to leave this one off. And the next option is Advanced Campaign Budget, which used to be called a CBO, aka Campaign Budget Optimization. And so what this means, if you turn this on and there's a budget here, if you have $20 daily budget, what this advanced campaign budget means is it's going to take this $20 and let's say you have 5 ad sets here and 5 creatives under each of them. It's going to take this daily budget of $20 and distribute it throughout those ad sets and ad creatives how it sees fit. Facebook is going to work to identify which one it thinks is performing the best, and then it's going to spend more of that money in that one and then less on the other ones. Now, advanced campaign budget can be really, really powerful if you have multiple winning ad creatives already established. You can pop in all of your winning ad creatives under different ad sets and move them into an advanced campaign budget. So wherever Facebook decides to spend that allotted amount, you're most likely going to get some really good cost per purchases because you know there's 5 winning ad creatives in there already. But of course, if you're just starting off and you're running just 1 or 2 ad creatives underneath the ad set, you don't need to have this on. Now, A/B testing option does exactly that. So A/B tests for you, but we're going to kind of manually be doing that with our ad creatives. If you're new to advertising or you're advertising a new product, the first thing that I always want to do and recommend everyone do is to test ad creatives against each other first. If you only create 1 ad creative, you're just spending all of your money on 1 creative and you're hoping that it works and it resonates with the audience. If you've got 5 ad creatives, then there's 5 options for the audience to choose which one they like the best. So what I personally like to do if I'm testing a brand new product is I'll have 5 different ad creatives with 5 different marketing angles in each of those ad creatives. So if I'm selling a jade roller for your skin, for example, the 5 creatives that I would come up with 5 different marketing angles could be one that is emphasizing how it reduces skin redness. The other one is maybe reducing fine lines and wrinkles, and so on and so on. So I'll have 5 different kind of hooks and also angles on that advertisement. And those are going to be testing against each other. And then whichever one is winning or has the most sales, that'll indicate to me that that's what the audience in the market wants. They want to reduce fine lines and wrinkles. They don't care about skin redness. And then from there, I'll go into optimizing the landing page for the fine lines and wrinkles angle. And then I'll start cranking out a bunch of other new creatives with that same angle, but with different styles. And then I'll test those against each other. But that's a little bit later on down the road. For right now, we're just going to be setting up this campaign here. So those are the only options that we need to do on the campaign level. So we filled everything out. We really didn't change anything. We're going to go ahead and hit next. Now this brings us to the ad set level. So the ad set level again is where you're going to be doing your targeting. So for this example, it's 18 plus is what we're going to be advertising to, and we're going to be doing it in the US only. So same thing with titling your campaign. You want to make sure that your ad set is titled in a way that you're going to remember it and you know exactly what you're targeting. Now scrolling down to the conversion section, there's website and shop, there's website and app, message, calls, website, and calls. So most of the time you're going to be wanting to do either website or website and shop. Now the difference between the two of these options here is website and shop will also allow the customer to shop directly on Instagram or Facebook if you have your Facebook shop and your Instagram shop set up. And to set that up, and if you want to do that, you do have to apply on your Instagram account, and they have to verify your products and verify your account and make sure that it's all legit and makes sense. And then they will grant you access to Instagram shop where then you can run ads to it. Shopping on Facebook and Instagram can be really profitable sometimes because a lot of people don't like leaving the app. They want to just, make a quick purchase. But there's also times where your product makes more sense to actually send them to the website. If it's a higher ticket product or you need to really emphasize the marketing angle that you're running, you might want to send them to your landing page. That way they can learn more about your brand, your product, and why they need that product. I personally like to send them to the landing page, so we're going to be using website as the conversion metric here. Now scrolling down to our performance goal, we want to maximize the number of conversions. We don't want to maximize the number of landing page views. We want people to come onto our website and purchase from us. That way we can be profitable. Now for the dataset section, this is where we add the pixel that we just created. This one I did not have a pixel, so I'll do it again. I thought I already added it, but maybe not. Now for the dataset section, this is where we're going to select the pixel that we just created. The one that we linked onto our Shopify store or whatever third-party website you're using. This is where it's going to show up. Mine says inactive because it's a test pixel. But if you already have your website up, just click it a couple times, make sure it's linked correctly, and it'll say it's active once it starts tracking some data. Make sure you click on the right pixel. If you've got multiple, you don't want to mess that up. Now for our conversion event, this is what we want to mainly track. And there's a bunch of different options, but what we care about the most in e-commerce and selling products is obviously purchases. We want to make sure that that is set. We want to receive the metrics and optimization for purchases. What that means is when you start running advertisements on Facebook, the more purchases that come through and get collected by your pixel, the more robust your pixel becomes. It starts learning from those purchases, identifying those customers, and it starts optimizing and getting better and better because it learns about the people that are purchasing and it starts showing your ads to people that look like the people that have purchased. That's super, super important. And always know that in the beginning, Facebook might take a little bit of time before it starts optimizing, before you get your first purchase, and before your pixel just gets better and better as it builds that data. Now, if you have this error like me, because it's a new pixel, you can set up your conversions here if you haven't done so already when you set up your pixel, but you're going to track your conversions with standard events. Your event code, we're going to leave at e-commerce and retail for the most part. So it's going to track all of these things. We'll just hit done. And now our pixel is set up. And you should test it just in case it's not firing correctly or you didn't install it correctly. Once that is linked, the cost per result goal is the next option. We have no idea what the average cost per purchase is going to be if you have a brand new account. But if you're curious, what this means is if you are trying to get a cost per purchase of $15, you can type in $15 here. And then Facebook is going to try to get that for you. But don't think that you can just put $1 and Facebook is going to go after a ton of people and you're going to get $1 cost per purchase. That is not how that works at all. Actually, most of the time, whenever I set a cost per purchase goal, it actually never works and hardly spends any money at all. You really want Facebook to run free and make the best decisions that they can without narrowing down your audience to people that they think will hopefully purchase for just $1 in ad spend. It's very unrealistic. And most of the time, it just doesn't actually work or spend money. The next option that we have here is the dynamic creative, where Facebook will automatically create combinations of your media and text that your audience is likely to respond to. I don't really like doing dynamic creative too much. And plus also it's going away soon. So I would just leave it off for now. You just want to do some of this stuff a little bit more manually. Now going down to the budget and schedule section. This is how much you're going to spend daily, or you can have the option to do a lifetime budget. Let's say you had a campaign, you're willing to spend $500. That's your maximum. You could set this to 500 and after it hits that spend, it will automatically turn off. I don't like doing lifetime budgets. I just like monitoring them daily. So what I would recommend doing is starting off with just your daily budget. And remember what I was talking about earlier, this is an ad set budget. We have $20 on it right now. So anything that's under this specific ad set will have $20 allocated to it. So if you have 3 creatives that we're testing under this ad set, it's going to take $20 and spend it however it sees fit on these creatives. One could get $10, another one could get $5, and the other one could get $5. It's going to try to figure out which ad is performing the best and the audience likes the most. And so you're going to see one do better than the others. It's very similar to the campaign budget optimization, but just at one more level down. Now, a lot of people ask me, how much money should I spend on Facebook ads per day? This is totally up to you and your budget and what you're willing to spend and test. Now, I do recommend having a minimum of $25. It collects your data a little bit quicker. I personally test with like $200 to $250, but a lot of people don't have that budget or want to spend it. But really the only difference between a $20 a day budget and $200 is that you're spending 10 times more per day, but you're also collecting your data to make an educated decision on your ads 10 times faster. So I like getting my data quickly to make a decision, but it can be a scary budget. If you don't get any sales, then you just blew all of that money, but you did buy one thing at least, which is the data. So I personally recommend going with 25 to start off in the beginning. And also a lot of people ask me, how much money should I spend before deeming an ad creative or a set, a failure? A really good rule of thumb is to spend at least 3 to 5 times your AOV, which is your average order value. So if you're selling your product for $100, I would recommend spending $300 to $500 on Facebook before making any decisions at all. It's going to give Facebook enough time to collect the data, and then you can make a decision of how it's looking after that. You might get 2 sales the first day and 0 the next day, or 0 sales the first day and 5 the next day. The more money that you spend on Facebook, the better the pixel optimizes and the higher chances of you actually becoming profitable. Now, another good rule of thumb is to let your ads run for at least a week. And the reason behind that is, for example, if we're running a golf product and for some reason everyone buys golf products right after they go to the golf course, and most people will golf on Saturday and Sunday on the weekend. So maybe my highest converting days are on Saturday and Sunday, but if I only ran my ads Monday to Thursday, I might have missed out on the weekend sales, and it actually could have been a winning advertisement, but I just never gave it a chance to run through that entire week because people spend their money differently depending on the product and what day they would buy things. Another example, if you're selling alcohol, it's probably higher likelihood to sell it on Friday and Saturday than it is on Tuesday. So the same kind of philosophy in like a brick and mortar store kind of applies to online business as well. If you guys are learning and enjoying this walkthrough so far, make sure to subscribe, leave a comment if you have a question. It really helps me out. It pushes this out to the algorithm more, so I would appreciate that. And also, if you're brand new to online business and you want to get your first custom store made for you on Shopify for free, I'll have that down below in the description as well. You get a free mentorship with it and a free 35-minute course. There's no catches there. Shopify pays me to train you guys. Now, moving on after our budget, we've got the schedule. So we have our start date and our start time. You can also add an end date and end time. If you only want to run the campaign for Father's Day, you're going to end it after Father's Day. But most of the time, unless it's a special holiday, you're going to want to let it run forever until you turn it off. So I don't really ever set too many end dates, to be honest with you. Now, the next option is budget scheduling. So what this tool does is you can say between Mondays and Tuesdays from 8 a.m. to 12 p.m., spend the most money or only run our ads during that time. Now, this can be a really, really powerful tool later on down the road because, like we were saying about the golf products, if Monday through Thursday they're unprofitable, but you've noticed that Friday, Saturday, Sunday, you have a great return on your ad spend. Once you collect that information and make those educated decisions, you can come back in here and say, hey, only run it on Friday to Sunday and just spend a ton of money. And then maybe only sell on Friday through Sunday. That's a great example of why collecting your data is so important in actually reading the metrics correctly. But for now, if this is your first time running the campaign, we're going to leave this off because we don't have that information yet. Now, scrolling down to audience controls, this is where we can change the location of the targeting, the minimum age, excluding certain custom audiences. All of this is done right here. So if you want to, advertise to the United States as well as Canada, you just type it in here and you can advertise to any country that you want. I personally do. Usually the top 5 for me are Canada, United States, United Kingdom, Australia, and New Zealand. Those typically I see the best conversion rates. You just have to make sure that you're able to obviously ship your product out to those countries. This is totally product dependent. If people don't purchase your product in Germany for some reason, it's only in the United States, just choose United States. Here you can dive down even further. I could say Scottsdale, Arizona, if I wanted to advertise only in Scottsdale. If I'm a brick and mortar store or I'm selling a Scottsdale based t-shirt product or something like that, you can advertise just to Scottsdale. Most of the time in e-com, we want to sell products kind of throughout the world or at least the United States. So we're going to leave that as United States only. The minimum age here you can change. If you have a product that only resonates with people that are 60 plus, you can change that here. Now down to the minimum age. So this is where you can change the minimum age up into 25. You can't go past that in this section. And this is usually for like, if you're, I guess, doing a rental car business and you have to be 25 to rent a car, you can click the minimum age is 25 here. But most of the time, we're just going to leave it at 18. Now, excluding custom audiences. If you're running a specific campaign, your store has been going for a while, and maybe you're running a campaign and it only would make sense to show it to people that haven't purchased yet. With that pixel data that you've collected, you can put together a group that says everyone that's purchased in the last 365 days. And then you could throw that in here if you want to advertise to everyone that hasn't purchased from you. In the beginning, you don't want to do this. It's great for like retargeting campaigns and things like that, but right now we don't need to mess with this. Languages, up to you. Depends on the language that you are running your product to, and also the countries. A great example actually is if you're running a product, let's say in Italy, but you don't have Italian advertisements, then you can choose the language as English, and it'll show it to people that have their Instagram and Facebook accounts set in English. This actually can be a pretty nice tool if you're advertising internationally. Now we have Advantage Plus audience as the next step. So they're automatically going to show ads to people that are most likely to respond. Facebook's algorithm is very, very powerful, and they're really, really good at identifying people that are most likely going to purchase. I recommend running broad targeting. If you're not familiar, after iOS 14.5 update, Apple basically lets Facebook collect less data. The pixels got pretty bad, and then Facebook had to essentially build all of their data back up again, and it's really, really good right now. So pretty much every social media platform, I recommend running broad audience targeting. But if you want to, you can do a suggestion, and you can say, specific age groups, specific gender, if that makes sense for your product, and then detailed targeting. If you're selling a coffee machine, you can plug in Starbucks here, people that have an interest in Starbucks. But again, I don't recommend doing this, as counterintuitive as that sounds. It's just better right now to run broad. Just trust me on this one. Now going down to placements. This is where you can choose where to run your advertisements. Right now it's on Advantage Plus, but you can do manual. So manual, you could say only on Facebook and only on Facebook video, or Instagram, but only on Instagram stories. You can choose these options here. I just leave them wide open. Facebook knows where to send it. They're just really good at that. But for some specific reason, if you want to only run it on Instagram, that's how you're going to do that. So we're going to leave this one on Advantage Plus. And a lot of people also ask me about the estimated daily results on the right side here. They're like, oh, it said I'm going to get 43 conversions for $25. That's awesome. And then they get 0. Don't listen to this, like, at all, really. It's just made up stuff by Facebook to make you want to spend more money, I guess. The only thing that matters is when you start running your campaign and the metrics that you get back. So now we're done on the ad set level. We're going to be moving on to the ad creative level. So the same thing with the previous two, we need to name our ad set. So if we were doing 3 different marketing angles, like the example I had earlier with the Jade Roller, we could do one for skin redness, and then the other 2 we can set up later and duplicate. And below that is the partnership ad option. So if you don't know what it is, it's a partnership with a creator or another business. And basically you can run your advertisements from their account. So you've probably seen ones like Kevin Hart, where he is running an advertisement from his account because he's paid to do it, but it converts at a better rate because he's a celebrity and people trust him. That's how those partnership ads work. You're probably not going to do them in the beginning unless you've got a Rolodex of influencers ready to promote your product, but we're going to leave this off for now. Now under identity is we're going to assign it to the Facebook page and the Instagram account. If these didn't show up here, then you're going to have to reconnect them again, just essentially by logging in and assigning the accounts to this specific ad account. But if you did it correctly in the beginning, you're probably going to see your Facebook account that you just created and your Instagram account as well. So these are actually really important to set up and make sure they're linked properly, because if you're running an ad from your Instagram account, if they click on your profile when they see your ad, it's going to take them to your Instagram profile, where then you can show them that you're a real brand, and you can also hopefully get them as a follower. That's how you're going to kind of semi-organically grow your following. It actually works really well. The fastest I've grown in Instagram just through paid advertising was in 1 year. I went from 0 followers on the brand account to over 55,000 followers on Instagram. And that was all just running paid traffic on Instagram. I didn't do anything else. So it's really, really important that you do that. Now, scrolling down below that, we've got our ad set up. So we want to create our ad, a manual upload, because we're not doing the catalog. Now we have our format for our ads. We've got flexible, single image or video, carousel or collection. Flexible, I don't like doing. They usually kind of screw it up. Single image or video is the best, or carousel. I really, really like carousel ads right now, especially for image ads. If you don't know, carousels are the ones where you can swipe multiple times and there's multiple images of different products or the same product in different use cases. Running carousel ads as images performs really, really well for me. If you want to just do a single image or video, that's also fine. design, this is totally up to you. But a fun fact is that image ads are 3 times cheaper on average than video, and they're a lot easier to make. But what's interesting to me is that these platforms are so based on videos nowadays, TikTok, Instagram Reels, Facebook videos, that a lot of people don't post that many images. So images almost are the scroll stopping things now. They kind of stand out more. It's totally up to you of what you want to do, but I like cranking out image ads really quickly. A little tip here is the software that I use to create like 10 image ads an hour is Creative OS. On here, there's a massive library of ad templates from the biggest brands in the e-com space. So if you like this Vuori ad, you can just click copy into Canva or Figma, and then you'll get that exact template that they're using, and it'll look like this. Then you have a template that's fully editable with your own copy and image, and you're just copying the exact same layout they have on their winning ad. I absolutely love using it, and they also have email templates as well as landing page templates, which is super cool and helpful if you're bad at design. I'd check that out if you want to use them for any of the templates. But going back to the setup, we're going to run a single image or video. You can leave multi-advertiser ads checked on or off. That is up to you. It's your ads are going to appear alongside other advertisers. So you might see your ad alongside just a different business. It can be a good thing. It can be a bad thing. Take that with the greatest salt. You're going to get cheaper metrics in terms of reach and things like that if you do multi-advertiser ads, but sometimes it can hurt you if maybe it's with a competitor. So this one is kind of up to you. I'm just gonna leave it on for the sake of this example. Now, scrolling down below that is where you're gonna put the website. So whatever place that you want them to land on after they click your ad, you need to put here. If you're brand new to advertising, don't put your homepage. You want to put the landing page to the product you're advertising. You don't want them to go onto your homepage and have to go find the product that they're looking for that they saw in the ad. You wanna make it as seamless as possible. So we'll just drop it in here. We're gonna shop Lululemon. Just make sure that your link is correct. Do a preview URL to make sure it's transferring properly. Display link, you can actually change what the link says on your advertisement. If your link is really ugly or really long or something like that, then you can change that here. Now going down to browser add-ons, we don't need to do any of these unless you want them to. If you want them to have a call to action button to give you a phone call, go for it, but I think you're probably doing e-com, so we're gonna leave that at none. Now moving down to the ad creative. This is where you upload your image or your video. So let's upload an image ad. It'll take you into this creative setup where you can choose the primary text, the headline, and description. This is what's gonna show in the text and copy locations of your advertisement. So on Facebook or Instagram, square feeds, you can see some writing underneath it and above it. This is where you're gonna change all of that. I'm super lazy and not creative, so I just go on Dropbot, I plug in my product, emphasis, then I grab some marketing angles, skimmable header, maybe a short skimmable message stack, generate some ideas, and then they'll generate it for me, and I'll just kind of copy and paste them in here. They'll put that in the primary text, headline, play with retro style. It's pretty good. And then maybe a description here. I'll grab this one as well and pop that right in there. And then you can obviously, massage these to however you want and what kind of marketing angle you're running, but just keep them on the shorter side and easier to read and really emphasize why they should be clicking on your advertisement. Now our call to action, we've got a bunch of different options. I personally always do shop now. I'm trying to sell a product. I don't want it to say learn more. Like, why would I learn more about Lululemon shorts? Most of the time people are clicking on it to shop, and they sometimes can feel duped if you say like apply now, just kind of misleading. So I always recommend doing shop now, especially if you're running e-com products. So once you fill those out, we'll hit next. And now we got to grab our images or our video that we wanted to use. So you probably are not going to have any on your account. So what you do at the top right is upload your ad creative. You just click on upload and then grab the file, drop it in here, and it'll pop up right here. I'm just going to choose this one and hit next. I'm going to leave enable flexible media on just to make sure it works correctly. And then you can see the format. So when it's a square, you want to leave it as like original. If it's a vertical one, if you do 9:16, it's going to be zoomed in. So make sure that nothing is cropped off, or you can just leave it as a square, which is totally fine to do, by the way. And then horizontal, same thing. It's going to be cropped in or original. You can optimize your images to make them fit each one respectively, but most of the time it's going to be square or vertical that you're going to want to optimize for. Once you've got that uploaded, we're just going to hit next. Now there's a bunch of enhancements that they try to add onto it. So you can add overlays, catalog items, visual touch-ups, text improvements, image animation, all of these things here. I don't really like them. Like, I don't want my image to be like animated necessarily. You can let them do it for you, but I just think the creative is so important to your advertisement in general that I like to have full control of it personally. Totally up to you though, if you're confident in their enhancements. But for me, I'm going to leave these off and hit done. So now you're going to see on the ad preview on the right side, we've got our copy, we've got our image that we're running, and these are what the ads are going to look like in the respective categories. So this is desktop, this is the square format, and then this is the vertical, so like Instagram stories. This is what it's going to look like. So always make sure you take a look at these ad previews to make sure that your advertisement looks nice. Now scrolling down, we've got all of our primary text already filled out. Same with our headline and our call to action. Under the info labels, you can add things like number of page likes to highlight if you've got a really big page that you're advertising from, or free shipping. You can also highlight promotions that you might be having if you have a promo code going on. Down to the Advantage Plus creative section, it's going to want you to add those enhancements that we just talked about when we uploaded the image, which is like those moving pieces and the filters and things like that. You can apply this again if you want to. I'm not going to. Event details, if you are running an event, this would show up here. Languages, it'll automatically translate your ad for them, which is kind of nice. It also can translate super weird, so it's kind of risky to use it. Then we're going to go down to tracking. So this is going to be pre-checked off our website events. Our pixel should be here. Mine's not active. This is an example. And then below that is offline events. We don't need to do that as well. But something that is really important that I love adding is URL parameters. So what these parameters do is they add strings of text onto the end of the link for you. When you build it out, it's actually pretty easy to do. So the campaign source, you can choose the site source name, campaign medium, which you can choose as placement, your campaign name, campaign content is going to be your ad name. I'd select those off and hit apply. And so what it does is it adds the line of text at the end of your link. It's really, really nice to use to dive even deeper into your analytics. So what happens is if someone sees and clicks on your ad on Instagram stories, it's going to add the extra lines of text on the back end. It's going to tell you that it came from Facebook. It's going to say that it came from the medium of a story click, which is the placement. And then it's going to tell you which campaign name it came from and the content, AKA the ad name. So to break this down even further, if someone clicked on a story ad here and they made a purchase, I would know that it came from Facebook stories. And I also would know that it came from the ad skin redness. Now this is really, really helpful because on your Shopify store, for example, you can go into your reports and you can look at these URL parameters. So even when you see on Facebook, you have 5 sales, and then on Shopify, you might have 7. And then you're thinking, well, they didn't track 2 of them, so I don't really know where it came from. You can go on Shopify and you can see these URL parameters and then manually attribute them yourself. And that's really important because Facebook does not track sales 100% of the time. Like I was saying, if Facebook is showing 5 sales and Shopify is showing 7, and on Facebook, it's showing 2 on one creative, 2 on another, and 1 on the last one. But when you check on your Shopify reports, you can see that actually 2 more sales came in for the last one, making it 3 sales. And that can really make or break your decision making because you might have thought that that one was the one that's underperforming, but actually it got the most sales. So that is super important to always add onto your ad creatives. Now that's the last option here, and it's pretty much set up. But if I was going to run, in which I recommend doing, 3 different marketing angles for the same product, we want to do skin redness and a couple other ones. All this is already filled out. So we're going to actually just duplicate it, and then we're going to leave it in the original campaign. And now I've got skin redness copy. So I'd go back up to the top here and I'd say fine line and wrinkles. That's the angle we're going to be running. I would change the creative to one that represents fine line and wrinkles and how our product solves it. And then I would also change the primary text to, emphasize that it fixes fine lines and wrinkles more. You can just duplicate it again and add your next marketing angle. And in theory, the more marketing angles that you have and the more creatives that you're testing, the better, which is why I love using image ads because it's so fast to create these ads and you can just crank them out so quickly. And they're also way cheaper to run than video if you're just testing a product. So we could put this one as acne for the last example. But if you have like 10 of these and they're all completely different marketing angles for the same product, I guarantee you that one of them is probably going to be working better than the others. And that's going to give you a good indication of who your core audience is that loves your product the most. Now, once all of those are uploaded, you are ready to go. We filled out everything that we possibly needed to on this campaign here, and it's ready to launch. So if you're confident everything is set up, your Shopify store or whatever platform you're using is ready to go, what you're going to do now is just hit publish. It's going to go into a review process, which can take either 10 minutes or 48 hours. It'll come back either rejected or approved. If you're selling something that is not allowed on Facebook, it'll come back rejected and tell you why. But most of the time it's going to get approved and your ads are going to start running. Now, congratulations, your first ad is set up and you are running it now. You're waiting for the metrics to come in. You're waiting for the spend to start kicking in. But once it does, you have to learn how to read these metrics. Now I'm going to cover some of the most important metrics that you should be looking into. Don't skip this part because this is super, super important how you understand your metrics. You'll see your campaign here that you just set up. Delivery is going to be on and it's going to start spending some money. You can look at your metrics in the same way that you set up your ad campaign. So there's metrics on the campaign level, there's metrics on the ad set level, as well as the ad creative level. If you set up your campaign exactly the same way I did just now, you're going to want to be looking at the metrics on the ad creative level to see which angle or creative that you're using is performing the best. And you can obviously view this by week, month, day, year, whatever you really want to on the filter section here. So this is the most common setup. We've got our delivery, we've got our ad set name, bid strategy, budget, all that stuff. Now, the most important things are the results, reach, impressions, cost per result. The quality rankings are also really important. You can change the column layout however you want, and you can add metrics in here. You can do a custom column. What I like to do, and the most common, is just kind of performance and clicks, where you can see link clicks, your CPM, CPMs and all these things. So let me break down the most important metrics to look for. The number one important metric, no matter what it costs to advertise and show your product to 1,000 people, the only thing that truly matters is your cost per result. In theory, you could have a $5 cost per click and have a $5 cost per result. A $5 cost per click seems high, but you have a 100% conversion rate, so that's great. Who cares? That's the number one thing that you should care about, especially in the beginning, but it's also going to give you some good metrics on how many people it's reached. The frequency is also super important. So if you don't know what the frequency is, it's how many times your ad has been shown to the same person twice or more on average. So if your ad has been seen by 1,000 people and they've only seen your ad once, your frequency is going to be 1. If it showed your ad to 1,000 people and on average everyone's seen your ad twice, you're going to have a frequency of 2. Historically, for me, over the last 6 years of running e-com brands, once my frequency starts passing above 2, I see a lower conversion rate, so less people purchasing and the cost going up, because so many people have already seen that ad so many times and they're not clicking on it anymore. And that's where the term ad fatigue comes into play. So if your frequency is really high, your ads kind of get worn out, your conversion rate drops, your cost goes up, and that's when you need to refresh your creatives. You need a new spin on it, a new image, a new video, whatever it may be. So in the future, if you're making a ton of money and all of a sudden your ads start performing really poorly, check out the frequency and also refresh your ad creatives. Now, some other important metrics to be looking at are the rankings, the quality rankings, the engagement, and the conversion rate. After a couple days, Facebook will give you some ratings, and they're actually really, really important and pretty overlooked, I would say. So quality ranking is just that. It's your ad relevance. What's the quality look like of your ad? Facebook measures all of this and gives you a rating. If it's below, not good. If it's above average, great. If it's average, it's okay. Your engagement ranking is the way that people interact with your ad. Does it get a ton of likes, a ton of comments, a bunch of shares, or does no one like, comment, or share on it? It's going to compile that data and the feedback and then give you a rating here as well, below, average, or above. Obviously, your goal is to be above average in all of these categories. Next is your conversion rate ranking. So how often people are converting from your ad. Is it above the industry standard or below? That's going to show up here as well. And why these are so important is because I see a lot of people saying, you know, my CPMs or my cost per 1,000 impressions, which I'll talk about in a second, are super, super high. My link clicks are really high as well. What's going on? There's a huge market for this. The first thing I say is look at your rankings. If you have a below average, and below average, Facebook actually penalizes you and it actually costs you more to advertise. If it's above, then you're going to get cheaper cost per purchase, higher quality audience, and it's going to be cheaper to advertise in general. Having these above average is really, really helpful. And if you can nail that, that's awesome. If they're all below, I would definitely just stop that ad and start working on a new creative that is not maybe scammy or poor quality and has zero engagement. So one of the first things that you should do when you're looking at your metrics after a few days is check out these rankings. Now moving on to impressions, this is the number of times that your ad was shown on a screen. Pretty straightforward. Now your CPMs is your cost per 1,000 impressions. This is pretty much a vanity metric. A lot of people ask about it. Why are my CPMs so high? It cost me $100 to show my ad 1,000 times. That's pretty expensive. It is, but it's also pretty much dependent on the niche and how large your audience size is and your rankings. For example, if you're selling a product like a fly fishing rod and there's only 20,000 people in America that go fly fishing, your CPMs are going to be higher. There's not that much ad space. They have to be online, on Facebook, on Instagram, and they have to be able to be shown. If you have a product that everyone uses, like water, then your CPMs should probably, in theory, be lower. CPMs can represent the niche and how large the audience is, but they also can be impacted by your quality rankings. If they're all below average, your CPMs might be higher than they should be. Keep that in mind. It's kind of like an indicator that something might be wrong if they're really, really high for your market, but don't really pay too much attention to it if you are making sales and it's converting well and your CPMs are high. You can always try to improve it by getting better rankings later on. Then we've got our link clicks, so how many times people have clicked on the ad, our cost per the link click, and our link click-through rate. The cost per link click is kind of similar to your CPMs. What is the cost to get one click on your website? You want this to be lower, but you also want it to be converting. You don't want 100 clicks at $10 a click and no one's purchasing. That just doesn't matter. Then you're just getting a bunch of traffic and not converting. Things like CPM and your click-through rate, which is the percentage of impressions that received a link click, those you're gonna have to kind of learn over time, and you can always just try to improve them later on with new ad creatives. An example is if your ad is performing well and you're profitable, but your link click seems a little high, let's try to get that down. Let's try to get a stronger call to action. Let's make people want to click on the ad and just optimizing your creatives later on down the road for that. And that should naturally drop the better creatives that you put out there. Those are kind of the most important ones to be looking at once you start getting your data coming back in. Keep in mind that the metrics are kind of just clues. They're all just pieces of a puzzle that are indicating that something might be wrong with your website. Maybe it's your ad creative. Maybe people just hate the product in general. But what it's doing is giving you a right direction to look at least and solve this problem. And if you can read and understand these metrics correctly, you are going to be able to modify them and kind of massage all the pieces together, create new ad creatives until everything fits and you turn profitable. Now, let's say you go through this whole process and you are profitable and you want to spend more money and scale it up. What you can just do is duplicate that same campaign or your same ad set, create a second line item, essentially doubling your budget. Or if you want to increase it even further because it's performing really well, you would just duplicate and then change the budget on that duplication. So instead of 25, let's say it was crushing it at 25. Let's try 250. Now you're going to be spending 250 plus the 25 original daily. So that's the step-by-step process on how you're going to set up your first campaign. I hope that this video was thorough and it walked you guys through everything that you could possibly want to know about setting up your first campaign. If you guys enjoyed this video, please remember to leave a comment, like, and subscribe. I post videos like this all the time. And also don't forget to get that free custom Shopify store and mentorship if you want to learn further. And I do have a full 8-hour guide specifically on Shopify dropshipping if that's what you want to start doing. That is on my channel. It's 8 hours long. It covers everything you know in super detail. Thank you guys so much for watching. And as always, have a great rest of your day.